So the person who is saying eat and drink is not joyfully given to that person. He is grieved inside his heart concerning it, but he is doing it strategically in order to come into relationship with that person to be able to do damage into the life of that person. Are you following what I'm saying? So the person, and that's why in life you have to be careful that if you know that if you have enough signs to show that somebody's heart is not with you, don't think that you are smart taking from that person, even though you know the person's heart is not with you, that you can outsmart that person. Because what happens is that person also too can understand that in order for me to be able to have any form of legitimacy to speak words into the life of this person, then I must have some stake inside the life of that person. And when God shows you, and He shows you by you seeing the evil eye, all right, that you quietly, strategically, are you following what I'm saying there? Withdraw from that particular. Let's look at another scripture, then I'll close with something. Proverbs 28 and verse 22. Proverbs 28. All right, so two things I want to say here. Once you spot that a person has an evil eye, you say that you are not comfortable, all right, with that kind of thing, just begin, all right, to arrange yourself, as they say. You understand what I'm saying here? In other words, beginner too, all right? That's why if you have too many friends, there's a problem. Listen, you can't be friends with too many people. They all can't love you like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Dr. Somra said if you find 3 people on the earth, Lester Somra, that are completely in support of you in this life, you are terribly blessed. That you'll be moved up and they won't shake. You get what I'm saying? Now it's okay if you relate to people, acquaintance and all, but to say that you are in league here. Proverbs 23, all right, and 28 and verse 22. He that hasteth to be what? Rich, hath an evil eye. So when a person hastes, and that's why people don't have any, because you don't support, you are not supportive of people in relationships. Right? If we get into Luke 16, where he was talking about the evil eye, he talked about you can't serve God and mammon. And when you serve mammon, what that means is you can trade any person for material gain. Are you familiar? In other words, money is what is priority to you, and not, all right, the person or the people that you are interacting with. So he says this. He says you can't serve 2 masters. All right? You will love one. And he was talking about that evil eye in that context. Okay? So he that hasteth to be rich will have an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come unto him. So it's important that to be single-eyed. In other words, you are there, and because of, I mean, tested on these material things you feel, right, can come to you as a person, then you, right, in that haste, you feign friendship or association simply because you want to do that, or you are even willing to trade a relationship for that. Then it says, Proverbs 28 and verse 20. Right? Go to verse 20. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich. So here it's telling us that a man with an evil eye is an unfaithful person. A man who is single-eyed, all right, is a faithful person. It says that man shall abound, right, with blessings there. And he that maketh haste to be rich shall not, right, be innocent. So test your, what you will call your faithfulness, all right, or commit, not test, commit yourself in the relationships that are inside your own life as a person. As Job had friends, your network there. That everything I believe for my own self as a blessing. Right? I'm also praying these particular things into the lives of the people around me. And when you hear that, God blesses a person there, so that you find joy inside your heart. You are there committed, you are faithful, all right, praying those same things, you are believing, you are standing with the person, not just in front of that person, but most especially, right, behind that person's back there. Right, you are there, even if you see that what they are saying, this person has moved, right, you with your silence honor the person. Okay? As a faithful person there, right, which means you're not doing anything for advantage here. You are completely supportive of that individual. And as people start getting faithful there to people, right, then it says that they will abound in blessing, but a person who just has that evil eye. And what it says here is Luke chapter 16 verse 9. Let's say Luke chapter 16 and verse 9. I will read it there, a faithful man. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of mammon of unrighteousness, so that when you fail, they may receive you into their everlasting habitation. And then next verse. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And what is least, it says, is money. He that is unjust in that which is least will be unjust also in much. And then, if therefore you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, right, which is money that can tend towards a person doing unrighteous things, who shall commit to your trust the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give unto you that which is your own? So no man can serve two masters. So it goes back to what we saw in Matthew. For you either hate one and love the other. Alright, it says you cannot serve God and mammon. So the service of God is talking about and mammon is that a person who is not serving mammon or serving God, God says, I will bless you with that which is your own. He says, I will give you, alright, true riches. It says, but you must be faithful, alright, in that which belongs, alright, to another person. You are faithful inside your heart. And it's not even just saying, well, I'm serving somebody and I'm faithful to that person. Even your friends that you are relating with. You understand what I'm saying? Even till now. You should show, alright, faithfulness, right, in the things of other people. And when you do that, God begins to say, well, we can get things across to this person because this person genuinely from their heart, right, is supportive there of other people. Now, if a person just looks at it and says, well, just for my own personal gain, just for my own personal advancement, there is no regard and respect for relationships that are inside your life, right? All that you are thinking about is just how you can. Then it says that in your dealings with people there is what is termed there an evil eye. In other words, the eye there, all right, is not right, and that begins, right, to affect everything. So it's important that if a person is going to get into it, your eye has to be single. You must, in your relationships, be genuine, all right, people. You must be supportive, all right, of other people. You cannot be a fair weather friend. It can be when it is good for a person, you are there. When there is trouble, then you step out and you are looking for somebody else. It's like you have caught a covenant there in terms of your genuine faithfulness from your heart towards this particular individual there in spending time, which was what Job had to come to understand, that look, this is one of the most powerful things with God, that when he turned around and began to pray for his own friends, then his own captivity was turned around and things started getting restored. The true riches began to come into his life. I'll read, all right, 2 more scriptures. Let's put up Job 42 and verse 10 here. Job 42 and verse 10. So please get yourself, first thing you have to do is that you don't need any fair weather friends. Are you following what I'm saying? So get yourself out of any situation where you feel that this is not, Isaac said it, he said, look, God has made room for us, we shall be what? Fruitful in the land. Right? If you are surrounded by people who have feigned love for you and you get yourself into that, you will not be able to fulfill what you are supposed to fulfill. Now, you might say, but you would just not be able. If Jesus was, when he was surrounded with wrong people, nothing happened. So you don't want to be surrounded by that. And when you pick up that kind of thing, there's no need for fight. When you pick up that kind of thing in the realm of the spirit, you see it in the countenance of people, just put your car in reverse, one after the other, and start pulling back out of it. You understand what I'm saying here? Gradually, and don't put yourself in that kind of situation. Okay? Don't put yourself in that kind of situation. All right. So, it says this. All right. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. So, all Job did was that he got into a place where he prayed for his friends. Friends, human beings, are the hedges in the life of a person, which means you are supposed to, all right, be the hedge there. If everybody around somebody are deceptive in their relationship, that person's end is very near. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody around the person, they are deceptive. Let's assume somebody is somewhere and doing something, and you went there, you talked to the number 2 person, the person was talking all kind of things behind that person back. You talk to the secretary, you talk to this, you talk to this, you talk to this, and all those guys are running their mouth, all right, know that that person is technically dead, except they detect what is going on. You understand what I'm saying? And one by one start throwing the people out of the boat, or else technically, all right, that person is out. All right, so it's very important. You can't now do that. All right, now finally put up Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 12. I just want to read this about this. Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 12. So that eye there, when you are, the reason why I called it an eye is that it's with that part of your being you recognize opportunities. Are you following what I'm saying? It's with that part of your being you recognize opportunities. So it is like the eye. In other words, it's light. So that person who is doing that kind of thing just begins to see, right, what's to be done next. Things just begin, you see things. That let's do this next, let's do this next, let's do this next. Yeah, and they begin to, God is pouring in things. That's why it's called an eye, right? But once there's disloyalty, once there's no real faithfulness in it, then and you're not supportive of that person, then it happens. So, it's like 8, all right. Okay, let's start it from verse 10, please. All right. So, for before these days, there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beasts, which means they had no jobs. Neither was there peace to him that went out, or him that came in. All right. Because of the affliction, for I set all men, everyone against his neighbor. So this shows what, I want to show this what destroys prosperity in a place. Verse 11. But now I will not be unto the rest of these people as in the former days, said the Lord of hosts. Verse 12. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruits, the ground increase, the heavens dew, and I'll cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. Verse 13. It says, and it shall come to pass that where you were cursed among this, I will save you, and you shall be a blessing. Fear not, let your hands be strong. Verse 14. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, as I taught to punish you where your fathers provoked me, I said, Lord, and I repented not. Verse 15. So again have I taught these days to dwell there. Fear not. Verse 16, it says, these are the things that you shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth. That's be sincere in the things that you are doing. And peace inside your gates. That's goodwill and peace towards men. Let none of you imagine in your heart, all right, evil against his neighbor, and love no false oath, for all these things I hate, saith the Lord. And verse 18, he said, and the word of the Lord came saying, verse 19, he said, said the Lord, the fast of the 4th month, and that I shall be cheerful. Then verse 20, he says, thus said the Lord, it will come to pass that there shall come people and inhabitants of many cities, and in 21, and I shall go to another, say, let us go speedily and pray before the Lord of hosts and seek him. And then verse 22, he says, many strong nations shall come seek the Lord of hosts and pray before the Lord. Verse 1, and thus said the Lord, that 10 men shall take hold of all language of all nations, shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew. He says, for say, we will go with thee, for we have heard that God is in you. And what did these people do? That 10 people are holding that, with this kind of prosperity that is happening in your life, God is with you. He says, from their heart, in their dealings with their neighbors, they are truthful, right? No false oath, no deception, no form of duality, all right, in what they are doing. Look, this is the fact of the matter. If you don't believe in something that somebody is doing, drop it. Are you following what I'm saying? If you don't believe, if you're relating with someone and you don't believe in what is going on, I've always told people there's no point, all right, in having, faking things. If you don't, in the fellowship I was telling you about, when it got to a point I did not believe because they handed over to some people and they were leading, and me and a friend of mine, we didn't believe in, agree with the direction, and we handed over and said, look, I had most of the teaching. In fact, when they wrote the teaching of the fellowship, throughout the fellowship, I was to teach 23 times. I surrendered everything because I said, look, I'm not in agreement with the direction of this. I surrendered and started going to church. I went to join Winners Chapel. We were 150. I surrendered my leadership, everything. Because I didn't think it was right. All right, to sit down and be destabilizing. The Bible says, any man that destabilizes his own house shall inherit the wind. If you don't agree with people, then you don't agree with what they are doing, right? Then look for people that you agree with. The only problem, I don't have a problem if you don't agree with people. My own problem is that if you can't find anybody on the earth you agree with, then you have a problem. All right? So if you go and meet me and say, look, I don't agree with the direction of this church, I have a problem with you. The problem is, these are two problems. Nobody has told me inside this church that, Pastor, I want to leave and I will change my countenance or see you outside and say, no, you won't be fine. God bless you. All right? Okay? I won't beg you because freely you have received, freely give. I believe that. There's nobody, everybody walked. If you walked in for the first time here and sat down and nobody forced you to walk in, I believe if you want to walk out, you also be able to walk out exactly as you walked in. Now, if you are saying that, no, when I say I want to walk out, you should be running after me, then maybe you don't really want to walk out. You want to renegotiate your presence. All right? Now, that we won't do. We won't renegotiate that. All right? We won't use walking out and walking in as a tool to renegotiate. That one I will not do. That's witchcraft. Are you following what I'm saying? That is witchcraft. All right? But if somebody says that, the only problem I have is if you say that, then I'm going to my house. There's no church in Lagos that sits right with me. Then that is a problem. You follow what I'm saying? But you cannot. All right? You cannot. But to now have deceptive ways of behaving. Right? And then that is being a wolf in sheep clothing. In other words, inwardly, you are completely different from what you have on the outside. Okay? So, be truthful to yourself, be honest with yourself. If you believe deep down on the inside of yourself, all right, if the pathway inside your life is in a particular way, be truthful, all right, about it. Be honest with your heart. Don't be an honest person with your own self. Are you from there? If you believe this is what you believe, pursue what you believe, develop what you believe, expand, all right, what you believe, go with what you believe. Don't be injurious. So long as you're not injurious to anybody, you're not hurting anybody, you're not harming anybody, all right, go with what you believe here, all right, function in that particular thing. Be truthful, be an honest person, all right. Most people, that's why people are dishonest, because they're afraid to follow what is really inside their heart, right? So follow what is inside your heart, okay, and be supportive of other people in what they do. I don't have to do what you are doing for me to support you. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't have to. Somebody came to me with an idea and showed me. This person is in leadership, and I told the person, I said, look, there are many things we know we don't say. There are many ministers in this country, and I said I can list them, who lost their vision copying other people. I said I can list to you in the 90s, it destroyed ministers. That what you do is you look for the principle behind what people are doing, not copy them. Because even in copying, you can lose your own vision. And I said some of those people are deeply hurt and say negative things about those ministers that they once called their mentors because they lost their own personal identity trying to copy what they were doing. And those men did not ask them to do what they were doing. They were just trying to say, when they do it like that, then you look like we are loyal. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they feel that us showing our own thinking there and our own direction there doesn't mean you have to destabilize and be insulted. Do you get what I'm saying here? I mean, there are different kinds of plants. They're not fighting themselves. You go outside, you see different things growing. The hibiscus is not saying you have to be to the rose, that you must be like me or there'll be trouble. They are all growing. And God says so there can be diversity there, while each is pursuing without injuring, speaking negative, or doing anything. Are you following what I'm saying there? But when you're trying to clone what you don't have the DNA for, then you lose out. You get what I'm saying? Then what happens is at the back there, you start getting angry, you start saying other things you shouldn't say. Alright, so pursue that. I believe people should pursue that. Right? If you fulfill that and you find ways, go with what is inside your heart. Alright, talk to God about it, but be honest. And that's what he's saying here. Your dealings with people, be honest, alright, and sometimes people can handle honesty. They want to be deceived, honestly. Alright? People sometimes want to be deceived. Alright? When people say to you, look, this thing, people just want to be deceived, which means let's just go on. But it says, be truthful in your dealings here, be honest there, don't take any false oath. So please, don't let, even if your lame foot gets, if your foot gets lame, which means you get wounded by something, don't let it get turned out of the way. Alright? When you now become somebody that is just, the Bible calls a wandering star, that just colliding with people around the whole place. Alright? Have your bearings right. Be truthful to yourself. Alright? Stand firmly, alright, on what you believe is what you believe. Pursue, alright, what you see inside your heart. What you don't understand, you can't practice. What you don't know that is not coming from you, you cannot live out. Right? So you can only do what is inside your heart. If you don't understand what other people are doing, keep your mouth shut. Do what you are doing, alright? But don't think that because I can't see I don't understand what somebody else is doing, then they must be wrong. Just do your own. Are you following what I'm saying here? Alright, people are doing things you just will not understand, you may not understand. Just do your own, follow your own path there. Be truthful to yourself, truthful to people around you. Pray and be supportive about people that are inside your network. If you find negative energy anywhere, quietly withdraw yourself from it. Relationships are not by force. Do you get what I'm saying? The genius of Solomon's temple is that not a sound of a hammer was heard, in that every brick fitted into the next one. In other words, they looked for one that was exactly you fit and put it. So when God is putting us together, he doesn't want to be hammering. Do you get what I'm saying here? Putting chisel and you are trying to hammer the person. Alright, once you are trying to hammer, even goes to marriage. If you know that you have been hammering somebody in marriage, then leave the person alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look for a person that there is agreement. Not that, don't you understand what my... Now that you have married me, now here division. All right. That is chisel and hammer there. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. If you suppress anybody, that person can never be happy. That person can never be fulfilled. So what is your point? Do you get what I'm saying? Listen, it is a wicked thing for you to marry somebody and that person doesn't fulfill their destiny because they married you. Wait, isn't that madness? You took somebody and you say, what God placed in you will not come to pass because I am the head over you. When you face God, you will call on the blood to enter him. That God, I plead the blood because it doesn't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So, all right. You support people, things that are inside their heart, and you see it. In fact, the scripture I wanted to go to, I just want to go there. A lot of the evil eyes between brothers, husband and wife, is what is written. So I said that won't be too strong. So I left that. Because eventually I said, you shall not have an evil eye towards your wife. Neither shall the wife have an evil eye towards the husband. But if we preach it now, some people can say, that is my problem. I knew it. That progress I've not been making. I knew it. Alright? Let me tell you. I've preached Christmas message before. Christmas message in this church. In Lagoon. I call people to cut, just random call people to cut cake. He cut the cake. The message was, Joseph, because he was a righteous man. You know that message? All right? He did not wanted to put away Mary privately. And what I was saying was that you should meditate before you make decisions, because you will have missed God. The guy said, I got the rema. And he put his wife away after the service. And he cut cake. But of course, he didn't come to church after that. But the wife told him later. And he now sent a message about a year after that's where he got. So since then, anything that goes near those areas, I just leave it. Let somebody say, I have found light. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your word, and by the power of your Spirit, we ask that you establish us in this truth in Jesus' name.